So one of the main principles with which I live my life is living intentionally, right? And I've done this in many areas of my life in terms of my communication, relationships with people, all of those things. But I realized I saw a video recently, and I realized there's one aspect of my life where I haven't, and that's in terms of what I learned, right? So typically, I would just dive into the year and decide to learn stuff along the way, stuff that might come in handy at work, stuff that might come in handy for personal projects, stuff that I think might be crucial to the future, and I just go on with that. But I'm doing it differently this time. So in this video, I'm going to do a review of some of the things I learned last year, why they were valuable, which ones I would be moving on with, and the ones I'll be dropping, and then talk about the things I'm looking to learn this year. And how might that benefit you? I guess if you're looking to learn similar things, we could link up, we could support each other's journeys. And yeah, maybe we could collaborate at some point or the other. And then the second aspect of my learning is going to be that I am now doing a lot of documentation around my life. That's part of this video, trying to live in the open. And so I'll be writing a lot of articles about the things I learn and potentially make videos or do streams where I work on some things with those things. So if that interests you as well, some of that's coming. So yeah, let's just dive into it and look at some of the things I learned last year.
Okay, so first of all, here's some of the things I did last year, right? TypeScript was one of the major technologies I learned last year. TypeScript, like JavaScript, for most, the easiest way to describe it to most people is like JavaScript but statically typed, right? There's extra features that makes TypeScript a better tool for developing, especially when you're going for skill. But yeah, I've enjoyed the switch to TypeScript for the longest time now. I think it's been at least a year plus I've been using TypeScript, and yeah, I now kind of hate JavaScript, especially when you're working on a collaborative project where you have engineers of different levels. The best thing there is to try to ensure some level of sanity by introducing types and a number of other features that TypeScript allows you work with in order to ensure things stay sane, right? So I did a lot of TypeScript 2021, a lot of learning. My major tool for learning and doing TypeScript stuff was the documentation and courses on front-end masters, right? Next thing is some more React here. I think I really lots of React last year too, but more specifically 3 areas that I think were new or improved that, or I got some more context around is managing multiple projects, right? So typically you're working on multiple React projects. One is probably a website built in Gatsby, another is probably a React project with this dashboard. Potentially you also have another one which is your onboarding portal or something. And how would you manage these projects? There's the option of putting them on separate repositories and hosting separately, or you could just have all of them in one repo, and then host separately, handle all of that in your CI or your development tool, whatever deployment tool you use. But something else I explored or got to explore is working with micro front-ends. So this allows you to compose your front-ends by separating the logic for different bits into different projects or and sort of scope out different aspects of your front-end, but then serve all of them together to deliver whatever experience you're trying to build out. So I did some of that, right? Component library, yes, we built a component library at Brass. For those who don't know, Brass is a company where I used to work. I'm leaving soon, but that should probably not be in this video, but yeah. Component library, and then application data management. This is more state management. That's what we typically know it does. But then there's just some improvements around how we work with data. So I've seen a lot of React projects where easily you realize that you connect different aspects of your application to states, despite the fact that when you take a more holistic look at things, you would notice that you are handling this connection severally. You're doing the same thing severally, writing the same piece of code in order to retrieve the same slice or piece of state, right? So I explored the idea of using selectors, which could be more modularly created and then used across different parts of the application to retrieve a specific slice of state. So that was cool. And that also helps with organizing code bases, especially as you scale. Some web security stuff. For that, I use React Security.io. I think the courses there are made by, you can check, that's the URL, but I don't remember names of most of these people, which I should. But yes, Brian Chenke, something. Yeah, but it's an amazing course, and I was able to learn like a number of things around web security. I did this specifically because we're building Brass at the time, and Brass is like a fintech product, right? Which I expect requires a high level of security. So I wanted to make sure we were doing everything right. Another thing I learned was mono repo management. I have an article coming about this. In fact, this year I'm going to be doing a lot of articles and videos around things like this. But then, some options I explored were Learner, working on workspaces, use of NX, and Turbo Repo. Going forward, I've mostly settled for working with Learner and NX, sometimes individually, sometimes together, but more about that in an article. Another aspect of it is writing clean code. So refactoring is an amazing book for that. I'm not done reading this book, but I absolutely recommend it to anyone who wants to learn to write better code. I think it's written by Martin Fowler. Yeah, check it out. Product management, yes. I made a major transition at some point, which I have untransited because I'm a weird guy. But yes, I did product management for a bit because I've been doing product management for a while in different capacities. But so I decided to learn more. I took the product management nano degree on Udacity, which was fun, and eventually transitioned into being a technical product manager at Brass, which was fun too. For a short while, very short while, but it was exciting. Has my product management career ended? Not particularly. I have a product I'm building by myself, and with my team, I am the product manager on that. But more professionally, with jobs like for other companies, I'm back to doing some software engineering because of my interest in Web3. People management, that's a huge thing because my current / last job, I got to do a lot of management. And people are people. You have to understand how to work with people, improve how you talk to people, how to communicate with people, and reduce like opportunities for friction within teams. So that was a cool thing to learn. Still learning. There's no things like that. You never really complete the curriculum, but yeah, I did learn some significant things. Now this is one of like the main things I'm excited about, right? So it was blockchain and Web3 stuff. I started taking Udacity's blockchain nano degree as well after completing the product manager nano degree. The blockchain nano degree is interesting. I'm still on it. I just wanted to do, originally it was more of like, I took this nano degree in 2019 previously when I was interested in blockchain stuff. Not because I wanted to switch, but just to understand what was going on, because there was just all this talk about Bitcoin and all that. But more recently, I took it again. I'm back to taking it because I didn't finish it then. Then it was like interesting. Now it's real. And so I'm taking it seriously and doing some Solidity. I got to write some Rust, not from the course actually, just like playing around with Rust because I think I'm going to have to learn it eventually. So that was cool. And the segue or whatever, anyway. In addition to that, I'll be joining a blockchain company next, so that's exciting. Not next, I'm kind of already there, so I would announce that in some other video, maybe on my Twitter at some point. Filmmaking is something I also did. It was like, filmmaking has been like a very crucial part of my 2021 because I got to learn a lot of things. I linked up with a friend that is strongly into making videos and all of that, and we worked on some things, not together individually, but we shared a lot of ideas. I took courses on filmmaking, Master YouTube by Matt Javella, which was a great course on creating content online. Much of that I'll be applying this year. Art of documentary, I'm not done with taking that, but it's more about making documentary style films, which is the kind of films I am particularly interested in, right? Video editing, yes, I did a lot of that to learn to use Final Cut Pro, using a course by Ali Abdal, a popular YouTuber on Skillshare. If you're interested in that, check it out. But it was a great course, so I did that. Podcasting, I started several podcasts. I think to anybody watching me, you think like I'm mad, but like I'm an intellectual, right? So I do a lot of stuff. So I think I did about 4 different podcasts last year, and eventually settled on 2 that I think would we're a combination of all the other ideas but in a better package kind of, right? So I'm still podcasting. Music, Yes, I did some learning with music. I took some courses about the guitar, which I didn't write here, but like I didn't write that because I don't think I learned enough. I can't really play the guitar that well, except for specific songs. Singing, yes, I took some vocal lessons. That was great. I think I became a better singer. And playing the piano, yes, I can play the piano much better than I could at the start of 2021. There's still more to learn in that regard, of course. Yeah, so that's 2021 review. You should probably also do such a review to see like how far you come, because sometimes in your head you don't think you learned as much, but when I put it down, I'm like, wow, I did all this. That's cool, right? So this year I have a shorter list, which I love. I think my interests are getting more focused and concentrated because of the things I'm currently into, which are very connected and no longer as diverse. So that's why I like iterating, because iteration helps me like test and figure out what matters to me, and then that culminates into not just one most times, but like a few amazing things, or fewer amazing things. So yeah, the first thing I'm focused on this year is open source. Now this is exciting for me because for the first time in my life, my work, my actual job, and my interest in open source comes back together. I haven't done open source since like 2018 or 19. Yeah, I've been working with lots of these companies that hide their code from the rest of the world, which is not a problem, but I think I like the open way. So I'm joining an open source company and would do a lot more contributions in the open. And yeah, I'll share this from time to time. Another project I'm excited about learning this year is Remix. Remix is like a React framework. For those who don't know, you can check it out. I think it was made by the makers of React Router, Ryan Florence, and there's the other guy, I can't remember his name. Kensido is also a strong advocate. I think he's like a dev out there, or yeah, something of that sort. And yeah, my strong interest in Remix is the fact that the approach is to go back to a lot of the web fundamentals, right? So Remix tries to make use of lots of the basics of the web thing and browser APIs, things that already exist, rather than rebuilding those things or abstractions on top of those things that in some cases tends to like even complicate the stuff you're doing all the more. Stuff like form handling, for example, is one of the most unnecessarily complicated things in React that I think Remix has a better handle on. So that's one of the things I would be doing. Now, a lot of my interest this year would be around Web3, even my open source contributions. I'm looking to continue my Udacity course, finish it, hopefully in this second month of this year. So by February, I should be done. Write more smart contracts. I've been taking Build Space, which is an amazing way to get into Web3. Yeah, and with people as well, because there's a huge community around that, and any issues you run into, you can get support easily, right? Third Web is another tool I'm excited about. Third Web is a JavaScript tool, if I remember clearly, JavaScript and TypeScript, that allows you to build Web3 products without writing them in Rust. So there's this abstraction around stuff where you could call a couple of methods and a package to deploy a smart contract and do all those things you would typically need to know Rust or some other language for, right? Solidity and all of those. You could do that with JavaScript using .web. Building with Ethereum and Nair, yes. Early reveal for whoever watches this. Yes, the company I'm joining is Nair. I am already part of them, and we've been doing amazing work together thus far. So Nair is one of the leading blockchain protocols in the Web3 space, and I'm very excited about their approach to things, or I should say our approach to things, and the long-term vision for the company. So it's amazing to see that. So I'll be doing lots of tutorials and courses around that as well. Tooling for Web3. Yes, I don't know what this looks like yet, but I think we're still early in like the Web3 era, and there's like a lot of tooling or things to build in order to make transition or easing into the space easier for other people. So I think I want to be part of the people that put some effort into doing that. Rust, yes, some more Rust, because I think I like to stick with Rust for building on the blockchain. It's like a very strong choice for most people. Python devs use Python. There's a ton of things. More recently, I've played around with WebAssembly, which I actually think I would do more of. So that should be in there somewhere, right? This is something that's been on my on my list for like 4 years now. I don't think I've ever really gotten around to doing it. let's hope this year is different. I think it will be. I want to build more immersive web experiences. Yeah, I think I'm tired of building landing pages more or less, and all of those like dashboards and stuff. So more immersive web experiences where that feel like you tell a story or bring the user into an environment and they enjoy an experience all built with code. So tools I'm exploring for those are WebGL, 3JS, learn some web animations or SVG. Siradrasna is like my go-to for most of that. I hope I discover more people in this space as well. Like web engineering, I don't know if that's a good term for what this is, but CI/CD. I've done a lot of these things already, to be honest, but I want to know it. Like I'm the type of person that for most of these things, when I need to get stuff done, I can easily just go and check, oh, what does this do? And then I get it done easily. But I want to understand the principles upon which they're built, what's different, what are the nuances, and all of those type of things. So that's CI/CD and AWS. GraphQL. There's a huge maybe to whether I would explore GraphQL. Yeah, it is what it is. I have explored it for the sake of understanding what it's about. I'm not particularly crazy about it, except I need to work with it. More recently, a company was going to hire me, or they reached out, and I realized GraphQL was one of their major tools, and it was a senior position. I wasn't very willing to like jump in there and just start trying to scratch like every surface and learn everything I could about GraphQL. So I turned down like the whole thing. But maybe I would learn it just to make like open that door. I'm not particularly crazy about it, to be honest. Music is another thing I'm going to focus on. The goal here is also still to become a better singer. I think I'll take more vocal lessons, probably get an actual vocal coach, and yeah, put some effort into singing out bars. That's for the on the vocal side, and then on the confidence, get used to an audience type thing, right? That's pretty much it. That's what I'll be doing for 2022 in terms of what I'll be learning. If you'd love to share what you'll be learning as well, just so in the comment section or Twitter, you can tag me. And yeah, let's talk. Let's link up on things that are common as well, and probably keep ourselves accountable where possible. All right. See you in my next video. Bye.